A Christmas joke I hope you'll enjoy. What is pie? Mary cheated on her husband and came up with the most unbelievable excuse, and everybody went along with it ever since. Well, pie in the oven is a slang for pregnancy, so it should stay about the pie. I went to a very religious-y, not modern and populist Christmas carol concert recently, and they had subtitles on time. Something about the amazing virgin birth thing came up in the lyrics. All I could think was, this is the stupidest, most naive load of BS I've ever heard, and the fact a whole religion has been built around it is just dumbfounding. I don't really get it. Yeah, the Joseph and Mary the first get, not the Porsche Merry Christmas one. Virgin, at the time, did not mean chaste, it meant unmarried. This is still the case in some areas like Turkey, and Mary was an unwed teen mother. A blonde is having trouble selling her car. Anyone wanna buy a DeLorean? It has super low mileage. I only drive it from time to time. Why do blondes have bruises around their guys are stupid too. Good old joke number 7. I think I heard it first on the Bill Cosby Show. How do you know for sure a woman is a natural has a tampon behind her ear and can't find her pen? What do you do if a blonde chick's a grenade at you? Take the pin out and throw it back. How does a blonde turn on the light after sex? She opens the door. Do you regret having kids? If so, why? No, but I do regret having kids with the person I had them with. I love my kids. That I'm a parent, I don't feel like I'm particularly good at it. I feel like I don't prioritize them enough, or make the right parenting decisions. Add to that, I just find being a parent really, sure if that is regret, exactly, or more guilt for not being a better dad. Added, just wanted to thank everyone for the kind words. That was truly unexpected. I'm misting up a bit here. Ask me again when it's not early on a Saturday morning. My Sil angrily regrets her last one. And it shows. This child called his grandma mom first and for a long time. The abandonment issues that this boy will have will take years to a horrible thing. If you don't want them, don't force yourself. No, but I do not recommend them. I wish my husband would treat me like his penis. I expected it to say that he'd only beat me twice a week. Partner got penis envy. You'd get rubbed raw. He'd also wish you were bigger and take you out in helicopter around the town. Your phone would probably drop and break very quickly with all the oily messages you'd be getting. Wait till you find out that he puts silly hats on his penis. Then you'll be sorry. Took me a while to figure out the oily messages, smiley face, oily massages. You'd also be able to very comfortably and shamelessly glare at women in the sub. She'd be lucky, then I'd beat it 2-3 times a day. Smiley face, smiley face. Do you want him to beat you every day too? He'd wish if you can last longer than a minute. Sneering face. You wanna get touched non-stop day and night. You wish he'd send unsolicited pics of you to random women? Bit odd. Beat you like you owe him money? That's what we do, beat our penis like it owes us something. Men of Reddit, what's the best sex toy for men? It's hard to beat a good fleshlight. You can have all the buzzing bells and whistles, but when it comes down to it, pleasure is simple. X200B. OFC, this one pops off the tailpipe of a 2013 Nissan Altima. A JBL speaker with exposed drivers. Play a 64 Hz frequency on YouTube and you're golden. You are welcome. A vibrator applied to the underside of the head of your cock is fantastic. Pringles, 2 sponges, a rubber glove, and Vaseline. When I was 12, I heard the term beater meat for the first time, so I went home from school one day and punched myself dozens of times in the groin area until I threw up everywhere. My wife's butt while she's on her Sybian. Don't even have to move. Just stick it in and the machine takes care of both of us. Most explosive orgasm I've ever experienced. Venus 2000. Till a company in Japan gives employees who don't smoke 6 extra days vacation to make up for cigarette break. The company found new policy gave a lot of employees the push to quit smoking. I don't smoke, but I take an occasional smoke break outside to relax and clear my head. I've always found it odd that my colleague can take a 5-minute smoke break every hour, but if I'm seen standing around loitering for a minute or two outside my break, I'll get a reprimand. If I'm not getting the extra vacation days, at least let me have the same smoke break to spend on my non-smoking endeavors. But oh well, such is life. Yeah, but isn't Japan also where people are afraid to use their vacation time because they're afraid to be seen as lazy? In the US, the smokers would just try to sue for discrimination. Till John Adams' daughter had breast cancer surgery with a fork, wooden razor, strapped in a chair and no anesthesia. Author Fanny Burney underwent a mastectomy with no anesthesia in 1811. She wrote about it in Great Horrific. Life in the pre-anesthesia era was a horror show. Bill Roth, a famous surgeon in early 1800s, did a thyroidectomy in 10 minutes, compared to hours nowadays, which amazed me until I realized this was before anesthesia, so he had to work fast. The HBO series John Adams shows this in pretty gory detail. There are also scenes of amputation, being bleed, and my favorite, 1700 smallpox inoculations. Unbelievably amazing show, but those scenes are not for the squeamish. They are brutal, and, unsurprisingly, United Health Group denied the claim. Till Marlon Brando, who played a human in the movie The Island of Dr. Moreau, had a demand where he wanted to remove his hat at the end of the movie and reveal he was a dolphin all along. The director refused. It would have been a good twist. In his defense, it couldn't have made the movie any worse. In his prosecution, apparently he was a pretty big part of why it was so terrible. Brando's don't give a fuck phase was truly weird. Also, he decided to wear a bucket on his head the entire time, and they had Brando wear an earpiece because he didn't read the earpiece would pick up local police chatter, which Brando would repeat for the a shit show of a production lull. Still, since 2011, Chinese astronauts are officially banned from visiting the International Space Station. This is what happens when you burn popcorn in the office microwave. China will build its own space station with hookers and blackjack. I always liked the idea that the ISS was a place where politics didn't matter, and a bunch of scientists from around the world could just work together. Kun sucks. My old nemesis. The consequences of my own actions. God, is there some shit takes here? People crying that politics shouldn't matter and not to realize that the astronaut can be given an order on the ground, and held accountable upon return. Yes, they know what they did. I'm sure this will be a respectful comment section that is in no way biased. Afraid that they might claim it as theirs. They do that a lot. Feels like the No Homers Club. Don't trust China. China then developed their own station. Till that a few days after the Oklahoma City bombings, a severed left leg was found in the rubble. DNA evidence showed that it from a victim, Lakeisha Levy. When they went to return her leg, it was found that she was already buried with one. It is unknown who the buried leg belongs to. Whose leg is this? Don't worry about it, dude, the casket will be closed from the waist down. Just throw it in there. No one will ever know. If I recall, this leg was often cited as evidence for the conspiracy theory that there was a third bomber. It's a debunked theory, but still. Weird thought. Gonna throw out a theory that maybe wasn't considered. She could have had 3 legs. Still, the controversial practice of docking a dog's tail, i.e. amputation, used to indicate that they were a working dog in 17th century England and therefore not subject to a luxury tax. This led many owners to dock the tail in order to avoid the tax. It's honestly repulsive that so many dogs still have their tails. Have a Doberman with natural ears and his full tail, and nobody at the park has any idea what breed he is. Most people think he's some kind of hound, because they've never seen what a Doberman naturally looks like. We've got an adopted dog with a docked tail. I've got no idea why their tail was docked, but it kind of low-key angers me to think that their previous owner did it for looks. Still, that MTV, the former home to music videos, now primarily airs ridiculousness. During a stretch of 168 hours in late June 2020, 113 hours of programming were gobbled up by the show, and during one weekend in August, episodes ran for more than 36 hours uninterrupted. Happy 40th birthday, MTV. Thanks for 15 years of great music videos. Does MTV even resonate with anyone these days? I can't believe we are demanding the real world to break up the blocks of ridiculousness. Remember liquid television and whatnot? Those were the days. I used to have MTV on day and night pretty much every day. When MTV was actually music videos, it was quite entertaining. If I have to hear Chanel West Coast slap one more time, I can't be held responsible. Here's a breakdown of how that happened. Ow, my balls. Reminds me of when G4 started airing Cops reruns non-stop. Still, the hacker group Anonymous tried to hack a Mexican cartel and had to back down after the cartel hired counter-hackers to hunt them down. There is always someone you can't fuck with. There's just some things you really wouldn't want to experience the find out stage of. Those cartels make ISIS look like Greenpeace. There was an ex-cartel member on SWAB, and he talked about how he was initiated into the killing and dismembering brutality the cartel is famous. Said he vomited the first few times, but they work you up to it. They literally train you to deal with the gore and smell. He said the money is what motivated him to push through, and eventually he was desensitized. There is no such thing as the hacker group Anonymous. It's a blanket term for anyone who wants to pretend to be a hacker. Attention whores who want to be seen and known. A bunch of dumbasses in Guy Fawkes masks. This sounds like a Cyberpunk 2077 side quest. Still, the lunar temperature was 93 degrees Celsius 200 degrees Fahrenheit at the landing site of Apollo 11. It's so fucking crazy that we even exist in the vastness of an inhospitable universe. The sun is a deadly laser. Why do you think they hopped around all the time? What's the temp when people do spacewalks outside the ISS? My dumbass for some reason thought it would have been 200 degrees cold, but it's a dry heat. A great place to brew a cuppa. Stays at optimum temp throughout. We have to get global warming under control. I wonder why they didn't land on the dark side where it's probably cooler. My guess is cause pictures will end up weird, but I dunno. Yeah, but it's a dry heat, so it's not so bad. It's hot. The fun of having no atmosphere. Yeah, and still people will completely deny that having an atmosphere has any effect at all. Well, good thing those spacesuits were helps in standing out from the rest of space. We're lucky sound doesn't travel in space. Imagine if the sun were as loud as it is bright. We'd all be used to it, or deaf. Hearing would never have evolved if we. I remember seeing some post somewhere, so take this with salt, that said if we could hear the sun, it would be as loud as a jackhammer everywhere in the world constantly. But for me the neat part is that if the sun were to go out, it would take a little over 8 minutes for us to notice here on Earth that the sun was no longer shining. But the sound would last for almost 14 years. This is the type of shower thought I'm here for. Take my upvote. I've read apocryphal accounts of people deaf since birth who get cochlear implants. One of the things that surprises them is that the sun just looks like it should be making a noise. You know how the light from the sun takes 8 minutes to reach Earth? Well, if we could hear the sun, the sound would take 13 years to reach us. I imagine it sounding like Hypnotoad at top volume, like so. What do you get when you cross a shark and a cow? Great white too, milk with a bite, hammerhead burgers, and a visit from the ethics committee. Seriously? No one's going to say I'll do it a Mugaladin. Yet another thing Dr. Bright is forbidden to do at the SCP Foundation. A shark. A full shark. Finally. Eyes. Eyes. Playful face. Playful face. Playful face. Jaws in the grass. Imagine that. Your joke is getting a lot of bites. Milk it. Banned. If anyone tried to cross a shark with a cow, they would all get a lifetime ban from the zoo and possibly the state.p.e.t.a. Has entered the chat. Go on. I'll bite. Ciao. What is denied by everyone but is actually 100 real? If it is happening to someone else, it can happen to you. Parents having a favorite child. Double standards in almost everything. The worst thing you can imagine happening to you can happen to you. One deer is in the way and now I've lost the person I love the most. It can happen. No matter how bad. It can happen to you. Rampant physical and medical abuse in mental health facilities. Money doesn't buy happiness. Watch me leave IKEA full of joy with a 100 centimeters plush shark. Aging, it's not a disease, it's not faulty, and despite lucky or unlucky attempts to evade, it's still going to happen. We are not the main character. Everyone has similar shit going on. Everyone has their own challenges and don't even know you exist. The world doesn't revolve around you. You're a tiny blip in existence. What seemingly insignificant moment changed your life forever? Choosing a random book in a library introduced me to my career passion in environmental science. Introducing myself to the cute cocktail waitress at the casino. Been married to my best friend for 17 years now. Got on her bus home one night, bumped into a girl I'd had a fling with that didn't pan out but I'd always regretted. Got chatting and reconnected. We have now been married 14 years and have an amazing 6-year-old daughter. I decided to take a different route to work one day and stumbled upon a small art gallery. It inspired me to start painting again after years. I overheard a conversation in a coffee shop about a job opportunity, applied for it, and it ended up being my dream job. Missing a train led me to meet my future spouse at the station cafe. We've been married for 10 years now. What's a celebrity that was once huge and now lives a completely normal life? The kid who played Charlie in the original Willy Wonka. He went on to be a veterinarian. Bill Watterson, creator of Calvin and Hobbes, refused to license his work out and retired when the comics were huge at 37. Walked away from potentially hundreds of millions because he thought it would jeopardize the integrity of his art through commercializing it. I think he's refused any public interview and the only publicly available picture of him is from over 30 years in a modest neighborhood in Cleveland. Chunk from the Goonies became a lawyer. Nude from Aliens. Carrie Henn is a teacher. Queen's John Deacon. Lives quietly wherever. Has minimal contact with Queen, though they do run ideas by him as a courtesy. It was Rick Astley until we relentless trolled our teachers and friends with the Rickroll circa 2006-ish. Rick Moranis. What's the best response to dad? I think I'm bi. You still have to wear a condom. So you're bi and still single? I guess or by yourself, son. I told my dad this when I was 16 and he, hardcore metal rock fan since the 80s, responded by telling me to go listen to a song he knew about bisexuality. Lol. I'ma start calling you Buffalo, since you're now my bison. Polar or sexual? I don't care if you like boys, girls, both, some combination of them, or none of the above. The dishes aren't gonna fucking wash themselves. So that means if you're dating a girl, you're still bi? Yes, dad. And if you're dating a boy, you're still bi? That's right, dad. And if you're not dating anybody, you're on standby? Hello bi, I'm dad. Hi bi, I'm dad. Ah great, now I have to hear how you were rejected twice as much? What's white and has a high body count? Your mom. I was thinking LAPD. My top guesses were cocaine and heroin. The police department. White blood cells aka antibodies. Sickle cell. Putin. Winter. Johnny Sins. Leukemia. Walter. American schools. Wrong subreddit. White blood cells? Not me. Guessing your mouthwash. Now swallow it all. The Crusades. Hillary Clinton. I was going to say Taylor Swift. Polar bear. Hillary Clinton. D's nuts? A Texan third grader. It comes out my pee-pee. I was going to say sperm, but whatever, I guess Mount Everest works too. Lol. Me and my crawl space. Whitewater. Most of these comments are actually valid answers. The British Empire? I thought it was a white woman. Lol. The sugar. Was gonna say white blood cells, but alright. Mount Everest is mixed. My teeth. Leukocytes. A mass shooter. People. What's the scariest science fact that the public knows nothing about? Scientists were trying to study the effects that microplastics have on the human body and brain, but were unable to draw any reasonable conclusions because they could not find a control group. The greatest chemical contributor to IQ loss and violent behavior is lead, and it's still in millions of people's piping. Tetraethyl lead raised worldwide lead levels so significantly they had to drill into Arctic ice to find an uncontaminated sample, the actual amount of crude oil that's been pumped directly into the ocean. BP at high definition 4K live footage of the pipe that ruptured and chose to censor it. And it's not just BP that's had an incident like that. Related, but does anyone know a subreddit like this? For unknown disturbing existential fun facts?